Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the delay. Of course, I'm having technical difficulties. It wouldn't be me if I wasn't, and I see that I'm already frozen. So I guess it's going to be one of those days. Today we're hopefully going to Wexford County, Michigan, to see the probable cause hearings for both Courtney Bartholomew and her husband Bradley. They are the two people that are being charged with the murder of Rebecca Park along with her unborn baby. Courtney Bartholomew is Rebecca Park's biological mother, and apparently she wanted the baby for herself, and allegedly they took her out and while she was still conscious and awake, they cut her baby out of her stomach. They found her body in a state park. They have not found the baby's body. The baby was not born. Well, there are conflicting stories whether or not the baby was born alive or not. But anyway, ultimately the baby did not survive, and they are being charged with the murder of both Rebecca and the baby, and they are also being charged with torture and a few other things. So, okay, I don't know what's going on.
A person at the jail, please state your name for the record.
David Badul.
This is the case of the people of the city of Cadillac versus David Charles Badul, case number 2516290M. We are here for an arraignment on a bench warrant.
Be last because it's such a big case, so hopefully we didn't miss it, but we will keep watching to see what happens.
We had a conversation off the record that we anticipate a plea in this case. Does that plea take into account the bond violation alleged?
It was my understanding he will also be admitted to the violation.
Is that correct, Mr. Hartel?
It's possible to do no contest for both, Your Honor. He's advised me his Parkinson's impacts his ability to have much recollection of anything. I don't know if the court's been presented anything for the bond violation.
Mr. Badul, will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Hartel has indicated that it's your contest to the underlying charge of public intoxication, and that you would wish to plead no contest to the bond violations. So there's a few ways in which the court can do that. One happens to be a lack of memory. So let me ask you, do you remember being on bond in this case?
No, I have recollection of being at family fair. And after that, I have a lapse up until it was July. I called the Saukee County Court to make my restitution payment, and the clerk told me I had a warrant out of here. I said, for what? She said, I don't know. So then I proceeded to call and found out Mr. Hartel was my lawyer. And we had a conversation while I was in rehab. And we were supposed to get back together, and it just never happened.
How did you know to reach out to Mr. Hartel?
I called the Saukee County clerk to make my $10 a month payment for restitution. And the clerk told me I had a warrant out of Wexford. So I called the clerk, and then she told me to call Mr. Hartel.
Okay. All right. So there's like a 3-month gap that you don't remember anything? Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, it comes and goes, you know. Right around that
Nothing
time.
nothing about this case comes.
I don't remember coming here.
Did you say you were in rehab?
Yes,
When were you in rehab?
for my June, July, and August, I believe.
All right. And so were you in rehab then when you made the call to Missaukee County?
Yes,
All right.
and I reached out to here, and Mr. Hartel called me back a couple weeks later and said he figured out what was going on, and there was no contact. I created a program, left, go back to Traverse City. Yeah.
All right. And so is it your intent then to plead no contest to the underlying offense of public intoxication?
I don't remember it. If I need to, I will, obviously.
Well, what do you mean by that? If you need to remember it, you'll remember it. What is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying I need to remember it, but if I need to plead, I mean, I don't remember it,
So a no contest plea allows the court to review a document, presumably it will be a police report, to see if there's enough of a factual basis to find you guilty. Now, the reason for the no contest plea would be that you agree to accept responsibility, but you can't say you're guilty because you have no recollection of that. Does that?
That's correct.
Okay. So is it your intent then to plead no contest to the underlying charge?
That's better.
And is it also your intent to plead no contest to the bond violations?
Yeah, because at the time they happened, I was in a few state or whatever you want to call it, I don't remember. So yes.
All right. Can I have a plea sheet?
I was pretty,
Has anybody promised you anything in order to get you to plea?
no,
Has anybody threatened you in any way?
no, Your Honor.
And is it your own free choice to plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you remember reading and signing an advice of rights form in this case that talked about your rights to a trial and your rights to an attorney?
No, I don't remember signing it in this case, but I know what that's about.
So I'm going to go through those with you. All right. If you require accommodations to use the court because of disabilities, or if you require a foreign language interpreter and help you participate in court proceedings, please contact the court immediately to make those arrangements. You've been brought to court on a misdemeanor charge. You have the following basic rights: to plead guilty or not guilty, or to stand mute. If you stand mute, a plea of not guilty will be entered, and you may plead no contest with the permission of the court. To have a trial by jury and to have the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to an attorney at public expense if you are indigent, means without money to hire an attorney, and if the offense charge requires a minimum jail sentence, or the court determines that it might sentence you to jail. The appointing authority will decide if you are indigent and will appoint counsel if you are eligible. You may have to repay the expense of an appointed attorney, and you may contest your ability to pay the ordered fees if the court attempts to collect any costs for the attorney, and the court must determine your ability to pay at that time. If you have a trial, you have the following rights: to call witnesses to speak for you at trial. You may get an order signed by the court to require witnesses to come to court, to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you at trial, to be a witness for yourself, or to remain silent. If you choose not to be a witness on your own behalf, the prosecuting official may not comment on your refusal to testify. You also have the right to be presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you plead guilty or no contest and your plea is accepted, you will not have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up those rights that we just went through. You also have the right to be released on bond. If you are now on probation or parole and you enter a plea of guilty or no contest, or a finding of guilt is made by the judge or jury, it may result in a violation of your probation or parole. You can be sentenced to jail and fines plus costs. The court will tell you on the record the name of the offense, the mandatory minimum jail sentence, if any, and the maximum possible penalty for the offense, including jail, fines, or both. Fines, costs, and other financial obligations imposed by the court must be paid at the time of assessment, except when the court allows otherwise for good cause shown. If you are not able to pay due to financial hardship, contact the court immediately to request a payment alternative. An appeal to the circuit court may be taken within 21 days from the date of sentence or is permitted pursuant to court rule if the sentence includes incarceration, and if you wish to file an appeal but are financially unable to retain a lawyer, the court will appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal if the request for a lawyer is made within 14 days after sentencing. Federal law and/or state law may prohibit you from purchasing or possessing ammunition or a firearm, including a rifle, pistol, or revolver. If you are convicted of a misdemeanor crime of violence and you are a current or former spouse, parent, or guardian of the victim, you share a child in common with the victim, you are or were cohabitating with the victim as a spouse, parent, or guardian, or you are or were involved with the victim in another similar relationship. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Most importantly, do you understand that you have the right to a jury trial and that by entering a guilty plea today, you'll be giving up those rights and you won't have a trial of any kind?
Yes, sir.
So it's my understanding that you will be pleading no contest in this case to public intoxication under the city code. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail and or a fine of not more than $500. Additionally, you'll also be pleading no contest to the bond violations. Back on April 29th of this year, of last year, I'm sorry, were you on probation or parole?
No.
Were you on bond? Do you remember if you were on bond?
Was it the day from here? You said, I don't remember exactly the date that Mr. Hartel and you just said.
I don't see anything in my criminal history notes that would have indicated that you were on bond at the time. Mr. Hartel, do you?
I would agree that I believe he was on bond.
All right, and Mr. Abdul, I may have asked you this, I don't remember. Has anybody promised you anything in order to get you to plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anybody threatened you in any way?
No, Your Honor.
Is it your own free choice to plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel aware of any other promises, threats, inducements not made part of the record?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll handle the bond violations first. Mr. Abdul, to the allegations that you failed to appear for a random alcohol test as ordered on the 8th of May and the 11th of May, and that you failed to appear for a pretrial on the 21st of May, how do you plead? I anticipated no contest plea.
Yes, sir. No contest.
No contest. The court will take judicial notice of the documents contained in the file, in particular the petition regarding bond signed by Mr. Carnes on May 12th, indicating that the defendant failed to appear on the 8th and the 11th for testing. That is supported by the the Community Corrections Program violation signed by Ms. Matsky on May 8th and May 11th. The court takes notice that on the 30th of April, the defendant period of bond with condition of no alcohol in random testing. Additionally, the court's record also reflects that on May 21st, the defendant failed to appear for a pretrial and the bench warrant was issued. I also find the interests of justice are well served in allowing the defendant to enter a no contest plea to the violations, given his reported lack of memory. Then Mr. Badol, turning then to the underlying offense of public intoxication, how do you plead to being intoxicated in public back on April 29th, 2025 in the city of Cadillac?
No contest.
Counsel, I've been provided with what's marked as People's Exhibit number 1. It is a City of Cadillac Police Department report, incident number 25-001091. Ms. Lawrence, are you moving for its admission?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hartel, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The court was apprised of the no contest plea prior to taking the bench, and I've had the opportunity to review the report. People's 1 is received. In particular, I find the report does indicate that on Tuesday, April 29th at roughly 9:20 in the morning, law enforcement was called to the family fair area on North Mitchell Street of a person underneath a tree just northwest of the building. Law enforcement arrived and they found the male, who turns out to be the defendant, lying down under a tree. He was lying on a piece of cardboard and had 2 open containers of vodka beside him. Once they awake him, he's very slow moving, has a strong odor of intoxicants. His responses don't make sense to law enforcement. He did not know how much alcohol he did consume, but did admit to being intoxicated, and a PBT was administered that came back at a 0.180. Counsel, do you believe that the People's Exhibit number 1 forms a factual basis in which to accept the plea?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do both counsel believe the court rules have been complied with?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
As does the court, I find the plea is knowing, voluntary, and accurate. Mr. Probable, I find you guilty of public intoxication. I also find the interests of justice are well served in allowing a no contest plea in this incident, given the defendant's lack of memory. Are we able to sentence today?
Yes.
Elocution, Mr. Hartel?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask the court to consider this being a fines and costs situation. What it is worth, I do believe my client, when he mentions that he has issues with memory and recollection. I have only had a few discussions with him over the span of this period, but every time he's been consistent with that. I know there's adult daughter. Every time I've talked to her, she always has concerns for that as well. I do believe this is largely due to mental health. He did inform me that he went to Great Lakes Recovery, and I do remember him calling me from there when he was in the UP. So I know I haven't received verification that he completed successfully. He definitely did call me from there, and I take him at his word that he completed successfully. He's advised me he was transported from Traverse City. He tells me he's been staying at the Goodwill shelter. They've been helping him try to find long-term housing. I would hate to see the progress he's making have wrenches thrown into it. So I'd ask the court to keep fines and costs at a minimum, preferably no probation, no jail. For what it is worth to help him, I am willing to waive my attorney fee. I'd ask the court to do that. And again, I'd ask the court to pull as many punches as possible. Thank you.
Ms. Lawrence?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's hard because the only thing we have to go off of is what is in front of us and what he has provided to community corrections. They have not been provided any verification that he was in treatment. I do know he was in a detox program back in, I believe, June, and he left against medical advice. And that was kind of the start of him absconding at that point.
Okay, those of you who are just joining, we are still waiting on the probable cause hearing for the Bartholomew's. I think they're going through all the other cases just to get them out of the way, hopefully. Because of course, excuse me, we did have some technical difficulties at the beginning of this stream, as usual. It wouldn't be a stream of mine if we didn't. So hopefully we've gotten all the kinks worked out and we didn't miss it. But I guess we will soon see. So that's what we are doing. We're currently watching other cases being arraigned. Tomorrow, I will definitely get up even if we don't have the technical glitches, so that if I do have the technical glitches at the beginning, like I did today, they will be worked out and running smoothly by the time Kimberly Park has her arraignment, because Kimberly Park is the biological sister of Rebecca Park, and she is also being charged in this case. I don't believe she's being charged with murder or conspiracy to commit murder, but she is being charged with lying to the police and obstruction of the investigation into the disappearance of Rebecca Park. So she lied to them, which caused a delay in them finding her, and they have yet to find the baby, or the body of the baby. So that's what we're doing.
I wanted to go get high or get drunk. It was with my social anxiety. It's a small place, and we completed all the chapters, and we were gonna restart them at chapter 1. And I had already, gotten through them, so I felt that I didn't need any more of the reading out of the paperwork, that I wanted to just go and do my thing and move forward. So it wasn't
When
like
was when was the last time you used anything?
a couple days ago, I had a couple of drinks. But I'm not to the point where I was, where I don't remember, because I had a lot to do with that, my memory loss.
How is it that you came to be picked up on the warrant?
I was at the Goodwill Inn in my bunk, and police showed up. I don't know, someone I talked about probably my warrant with somebody, and they probably turned me in. There was nothing, there would be nothing that was going on, no violence or no other crimes or anything.
So did you know you had, I mean, you knew you had the warrant, right?
Yeah, at that time I did. I was just procrastinating. It's just very hard to get things done with my mental state. I tend to get off track. But
All right.
I didn't resist or anything.
Anything else you'd like me to know?
Well, like Mr. Hartel said, I'm in Goodwill now permanently, and to be away from there and not be able to work with my case manager, get my other applications filed up for apartments and whatnot, it's definitely gonna put a hammer in my forward just being successful. I only get a
How
couple
long have you
hundred
been
bucks.
how long have you been at the Goodwill Inn?
It was right before the snow flew, but it rained pretty good. It was after October, because October I was in ATS. I think sometime in the middle of November.
Okay.
I just want to apologize. I had no intention of not being here. It just was my things I got going on with my Parkinson's and my memory loss. Because of that, I just had a lapse. I still have some memory.
Probation terminated. Should have been on probation in another file.
Okay, while we are waiting on this probable cause hearing, let's talk about some other stuff. We don't need to hear all these cases. We were talking before I ran into all my technical difficulties. We were talking about the Karen Reed Lifetime movie this weekend, and if anybody saw it. And I thought it was pretty good. For what it was. I mean, there's no way you can fit everything 3 years in one Lifetime movie. So when AJ, Alan Jackson, and Karen do decide to put their movie out, or their book, or obviously the book will be everything, but put their movie out, hopefully they take that into consideration and, maybe make a sequel, or just a mini series for TV rather than a movie, maybe, because there's so many things that they missed. I mean, and I don't even know if they missed them, because they covered the things they did cover in this movie, they got right. It's just that they didn't have the time to cover everything. And so they left some pretty significant parts out, like Brian Higgins was never even mentioned. Who else? The the cover up, the fact that there was a inverted video, they didn't really tell anything about Karen's defense team's version of what happened. You know, they kind of just kept it mutual. They didn't really make it sound like she was guilty or innocent, but they didn't show all sides of the case. They didn't really get into what Karen Reed thought happened and what her team thought happened and why they were so what led them to believe that she was being framed, or that there was a conspiracy, or that there was wrongdoing on the police and the DA's side, corruption. They didn't go into any details as to what gave them a reason to believe that there was corruption going on. And so it just kind of sounded, when you got done watching the movie, you were left wondering, well, what really happened then? Even though they can't tell what really happened, because we don't know what really happened, and we probably never will know what really happened. But you were left, if you didn't know anything about this case, you were left wondering, so what are they saying happened, and what is she saying happened? You know, at least tell what she went on trial for. They said she went on trial for murder, second-degree murder, and vehicular manslaughter, and leaving the scene of an accident resulting in his death. But they didn't give any kind of description as to what made them suspect that. And then they didn't get into how her team believed and proved that he was never even hit by a car. So I don't even, the more I think about it, the more confusing it is the way they did it, but it was well done because what they did cover, they got right. In fact, a lot of the things that they had Turtle Boy saying, or Karen saying, or Alan Jackson saying, they were really said. You know, they quoted them verbatim. So, verbatim. So yeah, it wasn't bad. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It was a Lifetime movie. So, but they did mention Turtle Boy quite a bit. He was a big part of it, and so that's good because that's how it should be. Okay, let's see who we have here now.
Person at the jail, please state your name for the record.
Gregory Ray Miller Jr.
All right, Mr. Miller, you are here on two cases. The first.
Nope. So, and then yesterday, Alan Jackson was a guest on Billy Bush's 1-year anniversary podcast, and he had really great things to say about Turtle Boy. He gave Turtle Boy the accolades that he deserves and that are just, and I thought that was very sincere and very well deserved on Turtle Boy's part. And I hope that he saw it, and I hope that, I mean, he doesn't need any confirmation. You know, he knows what he did, but the fact that he's still getting acknowledgement from AJ, no matter what's going on between him and Karen, is pretty. It's pretty stand up of AJ to go ahead and give credit where credit's due. So I was pleased to hear that. He does seem, they were talking about the Reiner murders and how he withdrew from the case. He did seem upset. He wouldn't elaborate on why he had to withdraw from the case, but he did seem bothered by it. But he's holding it close to the chest. He's not giving anything away. He doesn't want to hurt the public defender's chances of carrying on the case that he had started. He apparently thinks that he that you know Mr. Reiner's innocent, and he didn't give any reasons why, but he seems pretty dead set on him not killing his parents. So that'll be interesting to see that play out. But yeah, congratulations to Billy Bush and a year under his belt. That's very nice. Howie Mandel dropped in while AJ was being interviewed, which was fun to watch. I didn't realize Billy Bush had such connections. I don't know why I wouldn't have realized that, because he was on actual TV for so long. Of course he has these connections, but he's so down to earth, it's hard to, it's easy to forget that he's basically a celebrity, So yeah, Karen Reed, Rotten Mango had her interview with Karen Reed, and I thought it was an excellent interview. It was very well thought out and planned, and very personable. Karen seemed to feel very at ease and very comfortable talking to Stephanie. Is that her name? And Karen even teared up a couple of times, talking about when everybody was packing up their things to leave the hotel after the verdict of the second trial. She was left alone and wondering, well, where do I go? What do I do? I don't have a life to go back to. I don't have a job to go back to. I don't even have a home to go back to. And I have to admit, I teared up too. It was like, I don't think a lot of us even thought about that part of it. We just kind of imagined her celebrating and then going right into the money-making deals, I don't think any of us really gave a second thought to how is she going to transition back into a life that doesn't exist anymore. She was lost, and she's still lost, but she seems pretty positive, and she feels like this civil case is giving her, this countersuit is giving her motivation to carry on what she started. She does seem very angry still, and rightfully so. She lost everything to these people, and they need to pay for it. They need to rectify this somehow. I don't know how they can. They probably never will be able to. There's no amount of money that can give her what she lost. Give her back what she lost. She lost 2 careers, 2 well-paying jobs, her retirement, her pension or whatever, her home, everything that she bought and filled her home with, art, art down to dishes. She's lost everything. And they asked her about that, and she said that she gave a lot of her meaningful things to a cousin and told him to keep them for her, to use them while she was unable to use them. But then she also said that she doesn't think she wants them back. She wants him to keep them because she loves him, and I would think that they probably symbolize a part of her life that she wants to put behind her. And although she's slowly accepting that she doesn't have to get up and go to court every day, she doesn't have to be accountable for anything. Nobody can tell her where she needs to be. She was saying how every day she had to get up because she had to be someplace, otherwise they would arrest her. That's not freedom, even though she's out of jail. And she said it took her a while to realize that nobody can do that to her anymore. Nobody can say you have to be here or you have to be there or you will be arrested. They also played some of the extended versions of the body cam footage that was recorded the second time they arrested her, when they upped her charges to murder in the second degree. And yeah, they failed to show those parts to the public, didn't they? Proctor was mouthing off again. He said, see how crazy she is. All she cares about is what she looks like on TV. And that was not the case. She was just concerned because she had shorts on. She said she wasn't wearing underwear and she just wanted to put something on like anybody else would. I mean, I don't see what that has to do with TV cameras. She didn't know there was going to be TV cameras there. There were only TV cameras there because Morrissey called them. That's the only way they would have known to be there. Because she didn't know what was happening. So, yeah. Just a real piece of shit. Proctor is. I mean, and Buchanan took her phone from her while Yannetti was still on the line, and he put her phone in his back pocket, which, even if they had a warrant for that phone, that's not what you do with evidence. You don't put it in your back pocket. You put it in an evidence bag, and you seal the bag, and you mark it, and you log it in to the evidence bank or storage or whatever. You don't just stick it in your back pocket and deal with it later when you feel like it. And then to find out that they didn't even have a warrant for that phone. They only had a warrant for her original phone. This was a replacement that they didn't have a warrant for. So they took it illegally. So there were a lot of little things that we didn't know about at the time of these two trials that we found out about in this interview that were pretty, they don't surprise me because nothing surprises me where this case is concerned. But she said that, the main reason why she's going through with the countersuit for the civil case is because there are a lot of things that she didn't get to tell during the trial because of the restrictions that Judge Cannoni put on the defense team. They weren't allowed to put their case in the spotlight. She didn't want them to put anything out there as far as their theory of the night that John O'Keefe died. So this is her opportunity to tell everything. Their side, her side, and the truth. Or the truth as she knows it or believes it to be. And she wants that opportunity. She wants the people, which I believe the Commonwealth has already figured out, that they have been misled by this district attorney for far too long. And he's not the man that he portrayed himself to be. And they need new leadership in this community. And I think the way to get it is with the new DA candidate, what is his name? Wyke? Adam? Is that his first name? He seems to want to clean up the Commonwealth in Norfolk County, and it very much needs it. He uses the Karen Reed case in his campaign. He also uses the Birchmore case in his campaign. He doesn't specifically talk about them, but when you watch his campaign videos, and he talks about certain aspects of his campaign, he shows pictures of Karen Reed and different officers in the Karen Reed case and the Sandra Birchmore case, and he shows a picture of Farwell. So he's got he's got his eyes on what he wants to do with this county, and hopefully he gets the chance to do it because the Commonwealth, the people of Norfolk County deserve some reprieve from the corruption that's been going on there for far too long. So let's see what's going on here as of now. It looks like they're still on the same guy.
$2,500 10% bond. Defendant is to appear as ordered, keep contact information current, not leave the state without permission, to commit no crimes. I'm ordering no alcohol with random testing, no drugs, including recreational marijuana with random testing. Defendant is not to purchase or possess any firearms or weapons, or not to act in any threatening, intimidating, or harassing behavior. Mr. Miller, if you are able to post bond, once you're able to post bond, because you are remanded in the other case, you need to come over to Community Corrections to get signed up for your testing. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's it from jail, right? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What's with you?
Is that it?
A court calls the people of the state of Michigan versus Brendan Keaton Ricker.
Nope. Still not them. I don't know how many cases they have. I didn't
This
look
is
at the
case number
docket, but
25-5151
apparently
ST.
they have quite a few.
We're set for an arraignment today. However,
Judge
defendant does not
quite
appear.
busy
Return
man.
mail was received. So do a bench warrant with a person we're caught upon. I should ask, I assume, Ms. Lawrence, your office has not communicated with him?
No.
Mr. Hartel?
No, Your Honor.
And we've not heard anything either. All right, bench warrant with the PR bond. Court next calls the people of the state of Michigan versus Tyler Jacob Shelley, case number 254448FY. We're here for an arraignment on a probation violation. And does not appear. Ms. Lawrence, has your office had any communication?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hartel?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Recco, when was the last communication you guys had?
Our last communication was after sentencing on November 12th.
The defendant is on 4A in the domestic violence case. This is a fail to appear. So we will do a bench warrant with a with a remand. Bailiff, our next case is a non-public case, so if we can clear the courtroom, please.
I believe this is it because it just said it's not a public case. So hopefully this is finally. Oh, shit. They're not going to televise it. Well, what the hell? Well, we just sat through all those for nothing. So
Grammarly helps me get the best
Let me
grades
turn that
possible
off.
while depleting the least amount of hours of my
that's a bit annoying. So I guess that will end our stream for today. If I do find any kind of record of what transpired today in their hearing, I will be sure to let everyone know. And if there's any kind of coverage on it, I will stream it, obviously. But yeah, apparently it is not going to be a public case, which I find odd. When I looked it up, they said that yes, it was going to be streamed. So I'm not quite sure what is going on. Let's wait a minute and see just if they're going to stream it. Maybe they just aren't going to have the public in the gallery. I don't know. When this commercial's over, we'll see what happens. See if they go ahead and let the cameras roll while they're in there, or while this hearing goes on. Maybe they just don't want people in the gallery. I don't know. It's crazy. I will be very upset, yes, if um let me see if I can find anything else out. This is so pisses me off really bad. Um, Let me see. Maybe we missed it, so let me go back and see. Apparently, when I was having technical difficulties and I was looking into Judge Wiggins' stream, the screen that I saw was a live stream, but there was nothing going on at the time, so I thought nobody was moving around or anything, so I thought, well, maybe it wasn't his live stream. Maybe it was the stream from yesterday or whatever, but so I'll go back and see if we can find it, see if it's in here. Nope, because it starts with the girl that we saw that rolled her car while
Lee and Reese case.
high. So it must not be public. Wow. So we sat through all those for nothing. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm sorry that this happened. It's very disappointing, especially when I, Googled it to see, and they said yes, it was going to be streamed live. So I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest with you. Just one second. There is something going on, so I want to see if they are continuing. I don't have any sound, but there does appear to be some activity in the courtroom. So although their hearing was scheduled for 10:30, 7:30 my time. And we were a little late. We got in here at 7:35, but I just rewound through all the hearings that he just had, and we saw them all. But there are more people in the courtroom now, so I'm wondering if this is maybe they went to the judge's chambers to talk about whatever it is that was not public, and they're going to come back out here for the actual hearing. Maybe that's what's going on. Although it looks like somebody's sitting at the judge's desk. So, but there are a lot more people in the courtroom. So I'll show you. So let's hang on for just a little bit. Because You see how many people there are in the courtroom? I'm thinking maybe, yeah, maybe they're still gonna go. Maybe they're still gonna have it. They just, they just, whoops, sorry. They just had part of it be under behind closed doors. Maybe only part, maybe there was a certain aspect of it that they had to discuss before the actual hearing, and that is what's not for public viewing. Maybe that's it. And so maybe they're going to come back afterwards. Hopefully. We can hope. Um, let's see. I'm going to no, I'm not even going to bother. I don't want to chance it. There seems to be a lot more people in the courtroom now, though, which I would expect for this case. So, I hope that the judge appears to be at his desk, though, so I'm not sure quite what's going on. Maybe they're waiting on the inmates. I don't know. This is weird. There are a lot more officers in the court now. There are reporters in the court. So yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead and do this. So I'm glad we didn't log off already. So anyway, while we're waiting on that, let's go back to what we were talking about. The excuse me, the rotten mango interview. Very well done. I was very impressed. I feel like she put Karen at ease. Karen looked like she felt comfortable talking with her. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I feel like it was an excellent interview. I don't know if she paid Karen for the interview. It seems like she would, because I know that Karen was asking for payment to do Megan Kelly's interview, and Megan Kelly declined. She said that news agencies do not pay for interviews, which I don't know if I really believe that. But I guess Karen was asking for tens of thousands of dollars, and Megan Kelly um, said thank you, but no thank you, and went on her way. So I would assume that Rotten Mango paid Karen for the interview. I would hope she did. But did a very good job. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. And I was surprised at Karen's demeanor because since the trial's been over, Karen's been portrayed as kind of a bitch, for lack of a better word. And I was, as well as everybody else, I'm sure, was very disappointed to find that out because I had her in my mind during the trial. I had her in this box, and I had this vision of who she was, and I'm not usually that far off. I'm not usually off really at all. I'm usually a pretty good judge of somebody's character and whatnot. And I was highly disappointed after the trial from, some of the things I was seeing and some of the things I was hearing. And I was both disappointed in myself for having such high expectations of a person I don't know. But I was also disappointed in Karen for the things I was hearing and seeing and witnessing myself. It wasn't just I wasn't just listening to rumors. It was it was things I was seeing also, and the behavior that I was witnessing on all fronts, not just Karen's, but all fronts. And I feel like everybody was just bored because the trial was over and they really didn't have anything to move on to at the time. So they were looking for drama maybe. But the way Karen handled it at some points in time, I I have to admit, I was a little let down. I was a little disappointed. But the person that was being interviewed on Rotten Mango is the person that I had in my mind. That's the person that I pictured Karen to be this whole time. And so I was glad to know that I wasn't wrong, that she most likely is that person. And I have to admit, I failed to take into consideration everything that she's going through, everything that she's been through, and how she must feel like everybody just wants a piece of her, not the true Karen, not to get to know Karen as the person. They just wanted a piece of her to get the story out first, to be the first to interview her, the first to get the real, her theories out, the first to get, everything. And they had no interest in really getting to know her. They, just what she could give them. And I never really thought about that part of it. So I can't really blame her for the way she behaved. I can't say that I would be any different because I'm not a big public person either. I mean, I love to socialize. I'm very social once I get out there into a social setting. But getting me there is like pulling teeth. I could become a hermit so easily. And, it drives my husband crazy because he's like, you never go anywhere, you never do anything. And I don't get it because when you do go somewhere, you're as sociable as I am. You're talkative, you're friendly, you're outgoing, but it's like pulling teeth to get you there. And I work with people every day for 12 hours at a time. And most of the people I work with, obviously, are very sick. And so when I'm not working, the last thing I want to do is be around a bunch of people, even if they're not sick, even if it's a different type of people, different type of crowd. I don't want to be around people. I want to veg and be alone and be a hermit, sit on the couch and do nothing, which drives him crazy. You know, and I didn't mislead him when we were dating or anything. I'm still that person. It's just that I like to be home. And that should make him feel good, because that tells him that I'm content. I'm happy where I'm at. I don't need anything else to make me happy. And he's part of that happy. He's part of that home setting. So he, you know, I would think that he'd be thrilled that I'd rather be there than any place else. So he's just a very, very, he's one of those guys. He's always got his phone on him. I never take my phone anywhere if I can help it. So he just, you know, I've never been a phone person though. I remember when my brother and sister both moved out of the house to go away to college, my parents were relieved because they knew the phone wouldn't be ringing, because I don't like to talk on the phone. So they knew that they would finally get some peace and quiet in the house, and they would finally be able to use the phone when they wanted to, because there are no kids in the house that enjoy being on the phone. So there's that. I've never been a phone person, ever. Even texting, I'll respond to the first couple of texts, but if somebody just keeps texting me, it's like, enough. And the thing that drives me crazy the most is when, you know, I'll say, well, I just got home from work, I'm going to take a shower and get ready for bed, so I'll talk to you later. Which I wouldn't text somebody back after that. I would take that to mean, okay, no more texting, I'm ready to bed, going to sleep. But people will text back and go, okay, well, good night, have, you know, and it's like, that last text just always sends me over the edge. Always. Because it's like, Jesus Christ, you don't have to send that to me. Okay, let's see what's going on. We have some activity in the courtroom. They're moving chairs around, moving desks around. So it looks as though we are moving on to something, which, thank God. So they need extra chairs. Oh, because there's two defendants. This must be the prosecutor. And the defendants are going to sit here. Or the defendants are going to sit here, and the defense attorneys will be sitting here, I guess. So yeah, I think we're going to get to see it, people. Yay! I figured it must be, yeah, because these are all press people. These are all journalists. This is all family and friends of Rebecca Park, I'm sure. The adopted mother is right here, I believe, actually. If I'm not mistaken, that looks like the adopted mother, or maybe this is her right here. No, because that looks like a kid or a younger person. Not a kid, but a younger person. But yeah, I can guarantee the adopted mother is present in the courtroom. So yay, it looks as though we're going to get to see. Thank God. Because I was worried. This is my first live stream of a hearing, and I was hoping it would go smoothly, and like I said at the beginning, it was anything but smooth. I had so many technical difficulties. As you can see, my background is not working. So yeah, but I decided to come on anyway. But I'm telling you, it's been quite the morning. Tomorrow morning, Kimberly Park, Rebecca Park's biological sister, will be having an arraignment. It's her plausible cause hearing. She is charged with obstructing the investigation, and lying to police. I don't believe she's being charged with any material part of the murder or the kidnapping, but she did inhibit the police, and so she's being charged with that. The only two so far that are being accused of the actual murder and torture are Rebecca's biological mother, Courtney Bartholomew, and her stepfather, Bradley Bartholomew, who are just a couple of real pieces of work. Yeah, this girl had no chance. And, luckily she was adopted at a pretty young age and raised by her adopted mother. But at some point, she was reunited, reunited in the sense of her mom got custody back because the adoption was final. So her biological mother is no longer her mother in the court's eyes. But at some point, she reintroduced her biological mother into her life, and it was probably the worst thing she could have ever done because this is no mother. So let's watch.
All right, court calls the cases of the people of the state of Michigan versus Bradley Allen Bartholomew, case number 25-4995FY, and the people of the state of Michigan versus Courtney Marie Bartholomew, case number 25-4994FY. Just remind everybody in the audience, pursuant to Court Rule MCR 8.115, photography and video recording is not permitted in the courtroom unless you have received prior authority to do so from the court. Also, a reminder that outside of the courtroom, in areas of the courthouse other than the courtrooms, no one's may photograph, record, broadcast, or live stream an individual without that person's consent. And the penalties for violating that court rule allow for the court to confiscate the devices and also include up to sanctions.
I only see one inmate. I don't see.
All right, appearances counsel, starting with the prosecutor.
Your Honor, Henry Mihas on behalf of Mr. Bartholomew.
Morning, Your Honor. Nicole Smith on behalf of Mr. Bartholomew.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tracy Deinhardt on behalf of Ms. Bartholomew, who is present and seated to my right. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sarah Valenti on behalf of Ms. Bartholomew.
All right, thank you. You all may be seated. So we are here for a probable cause conference. It's my understanding.
Miss Courtney's down here, so we can't see her.
There is not a resolution in this matter. Is that correct, counsel? In these matters, I should say. All right, then I'll turn to the defense. Anything for the record?
Your Honor, we need to address discovery. At this point, discovery is being held hostage. We have not received one piece of paper, not one. The only thing that's been revealed to us was the probable cause affidavit, which was released previously to social before it was released to us. We have attempted to negotiate with the Attorney General. It's our information and belief that the Attorney General's office is in charge of disseminating discovery. They are insisting on an unacceptable discovery protective order that does not fit what we're doing here and interferes with our ability to conduct a defense and ensure client's rights. At this point, Your Honor, we're dumbfounded what to do when the whole point of this conference was to have everything and to just blow off the court's authority to not give one piece of paper, knowing that, understanding that while our clients are confined without a bond, it's unacceptable, it's unethical, and it should be sanctioned.
Your Honor, I share in the comments of Ms. Mihas or Mr. Mihas in this case. I have also not received a single document whether it be a autopsy report, a police report. I've received absolutely nothing beyond the probable cause affidavit that was released. My understanding is to the media prior to the first probable cause hearing in this case. In fact, I received that affidavit when I opened up my own Facebook page and read it on Facebook, which quite frankly is unacceptable. At this point in time, my client continues to sit incarcerated, held without bond. If the government is not prepared to move forward with this case never should have been charged back in December when it was charged. At this point, I share the comments of Mr. Mijas. I'm asking for either this case to be dismissed if the state is not prepared to move forward with this prosecution, which at this point in time, without a single piece of discovery, and the probable cause affidavit is not discovery. Without a single piece of discovery, the state is not prepared to move forward. So yes, I am asking for this case to either be dismissed, or I'm asking for my client to receive a bond in this case pursuant to the court rules. She's been incarcerated long past the 30 days that this hearing was adjourned to allow for the discovery to be turned over. Your Honor, it's my understanding that the Attorney General's office is the one handling the discovery. And I will note for the record, the Attorney General's office or a representative is not in this courtroom today. Quite frankly, if the court is not inclined to dismiss or grant a bond in this case, I would ask for the Attorney General's office to be show cause to explain why discovery has not been turned over to the defense at this time, to explain the violation of due process in this case.
Your given statements, I want to quote from an email sent January 9th, 2026. We don't have full discovery as it's still ongoing in the investigation stage, but I do believe we will have some documents.
And that's from
Melissa Palbert from the
the
AG's
AG's
office.
office.
If it's still being investigated, why was my client charged? Why was Ms. Bartholomew charged? If we're still investigating, which again, Mr. Bartholomew needs a bond for that. We've passed the 21 days. We were told, be ready, have everything out, or let's dismiss, because if you're investigating, investigate all you want, but my client should not be held in that.
And when did you each follow your demands for discovery?
I filed my appearance and demands immediately. I believe it was December 2nd or 3rd. So the 21 days to follow through with the discovery request, it's in blatant violation at this point. I've been told numerous times that I would have discovery, and I don't have discovery. I will also note for the record that it's
I am truly blown away at how often this actually happens. What are we doing? What the hell are we doing that these cases are at risk of being dismissed because the DA's office or the Commonwealth or whoever is blatantly disobeying the rules of the court when it comes to discovery? I mean, this is ridiculous. It's not just in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, apparently. It's everywhere, and it's so annoying that they are risking these cases being dismissed because they're lazy. I find that unacceptable. Unacceptable. We as taxpayers are paying these district attorneys to do their job. And they're being paid quite a bit. And the fact that they are risking letting monsters back out onto the street because of their wrongdoing is unacceptable. I mean, I can't even stress to you how pissed that makes me. It's not okay. not okay.
My understanding, Ms. Talapu has filed an appearance in this matter as a second chair or co-counsel with Ms. Carey. So again, I do not understand why the Attorney General's office is not currently here to explain why we do not have the discovery if it is the Attorney General's office that is handling the discovery in this matter.
And it's my understanding that they want to release what they have so far under a protective order that
Your
your
Honor,
parties haven't come to terms with yet.
to discuss the protective order in their email, which I have, and I will admit it as an exhibit.
I would actually ask that that be marked as an exhibit in both
So
files.
it's exhibit. She indicates that they are using a template from a child endangerment and human trafficking unit. Your Honor, this is a murder. And the template, and I referred to this briefly in my opening statement, the template dives into requiring us to reveal our defense, who we're going to use that might see the discovery. That is unheard of in a murder case. We have offered to negotiate. We have said that when it comes to medical records and any reference to any children, we will agree to a protection order, not a problem. But when it comes to the information regarding the murder, police reports, case law is very clear. We are entitled to it now. And so when we get a flippant response saying, I don't know if I have 100 pages or 100 files, 100 reports, you do know. The AG's office took this case on, became a part of it, has gone public, said we're in. They are assigned to our knowledge to deal with discovery. Wexford County is not. They have an entire unit that deals with discovery. They certainly have the resources, and to not have a piece of paper divulged and to come at us sarcastically when we're trying to get something done and our clients are being held in jail with no bond. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Your Honor, I will also note that as part of that protective order, when the defense indicated, as the email references, that we weren't going to sign that protective order, we were told, fine, then we will slow roll the discovery in a redacted format, which that does not comport with the law. The defense is not entitled to redacted discovery. And in light of the fact that the probable cause affidavit was released unredacted to the public, that's an even bigger problem.
One last note, Your Honor, and my partner reminded me. Materials are already ready from the state police and Wexford County through FOIA. We have been quoted a price on social media. Social media activists have been quoted a price for FOIA release of the documents we're seeking here.
And that's FOIA request to the county and the state?
Yes.
State police.
That is our understanding.
And so if it's ready for FOIA, stop playing games. Please stop playing games with our clients' lives.
Thank you. Mr. Carnes, anything in response?
Thank you. Just to clarify, on Friday, January 9th, AG Talapu sent the email, okay, no problem. We will redact the police reports and get them to you. I will let you know anything that wasn't provided and why. We will let you know when the discovery becomes available. I think the discovery will be available soon. Again, this was sent on Friday. It's now Tuesday. It was a weekend. I think there are issues to be ironed out as far as the protective order. That's something I think we can all work on, but to assume that the AG's office has essentially dug in their heels based on one email response, I think is not appropriate. So I'll leave it to the court's discretion as to whether to set a show cause regarding discovery. I would ask for the defendants to remain held without bond. Very serious case, very serious allegations, and we will be working to get discovery released as soon as possible.
Do you know when your office started receiving discovery?
I think it was
Or discoverable
Thursday or
material?
Friday of last week.
That's when you started receiving it?
I believe so.
And are you receiving it simultaneously with the AG's office?
I think the AG's office is actually receiving it through us.
So you're receiving it and then sending it to the AGs.
Digitizing it, getting it to them is my best bet, but I would need our discovery clerk up here to know how that's working.
Yeah, may I approach? I have one enter this as an exhibit.
Yes.
And for the record, Your Honor, I would ask that this exhibit be marked as a joint exhibit between the two files, please.
Yes.
No objection by the people.
Your Honor, the one thing I would know that my colleague has said, we're entitled to unredacted. There is no need to slow roll this through a process redaction when case law is very clear. In this case, we should get unredacted, and we're more than willing to agree to protective orders when it comes to medical records, HIPAA, and any kind of child interviews, child picture, things like that.
Assuming they exist.
Correct. Mr. Carnes, I know you're not necessarily assigned to this case, but do you know, are there still pieces of discovery that, or reports, things like that, that you haven't received yet?
I would say it is likely that that is the case, but I don't know for sure. I would also say that's pretty normal that we would have enough probable cause to hold people while facets of the investigation are still ongoing. And I don't think anyone has used the word slow roll in discovery. I think all parties are working to get discovery released.
I'll state for the record, defendants A is received without objection. Give me a moment to look at that real quick. Anything else from anybody? All right. What the court is going to do is I'm going to set this matter for a show cause with both the Wexford County Prosecutor's Office and the Attorney General's Office to see why discovery has not been complied with pursuant to the 21 days provided by court rule. I do understand the argument that defense is making regarding bond. I also understand the complexities of this case. However, it has been going on for a month, and it sounds like there is information out there that the defense certainly is entitled to. I will make a determination regarding what we're going to do with the case with bond after we have the show cause regarding discovery. Is it possible to set a date for that now?
Can we just, it'd be easier to mark down?
I'm sorry. I should do
Set
set
the
a date. Yes.
Yeah, probably that would work better.
We could do 30th.
What time? Anytime.
We could do morning.
Will the morning of the 30th?
That would work for me. Huh? We'll make it.
I'll make it work, Your Honor.
All right,
What time?
let's do 10 o'clock. Anything else for the record, counsel?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you. Your Honor.
What the hell is going on? So, people, what do you think? I think tomorrow I will have it ironed out and I will be able to stream Kimberly Park's hearing without any hiccups. I think I was right. I mean, everything I had set up was correct. It was just my stupid freaking internet wanted to be a bitch and not wake up early, apparently. So, um, but I will definitely get up earlier tomorrow and get the internet on and warmed up. Apparently, it's like me and getting old and can't just wake up and jump on. So, I can't promise you that we'll be hiccup free, but I'm pretty confident that we will be. So, on that note, I thank you for joining me this morning. I think this is going to be a very interesting case. I get the feeling that the judge doesn't want to dismiss and he is looking for every reason not to. And he's really kind of giving the DA's office a freebie here. You know, he's tossing them a lifeline. And I hope they realize that and they utilize it and learn from this, because if these two people, if this case gets dismissed, and you know, granted, they're innocent until proven guilty, like anybody, but if they did do it, that makes them monsters, right? Who wants them living next door to you? Not me. And it's not like they have rehabilitated and served their time and learned their lesson and have changed their ways and they're being released into society. Their case is dismissed and they're put back into society. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between somebody being rehabilitated or claiming to be and serving their sentence and being released into society, and somebody who is standing trial or is supposed to stand trial for accusations of this crime, and the case gets thrown out and they get turned back into society, turned back to society. There's a big difference. I mean, it is very irresponsible of any district attorney, Commonwealth or otherwise, to dance with the devil like this. Why even take the chance? What if you get a liberal judge that says, you know what, you are violating these defendants' rights and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. Case is dismissed with prejudice. I mean, there's bound to be a judge like that somewhere. Would you want to be the DA that finds out who that judge is? I wouldn't. I mean, it's not acceptable. Everybody gets busy with their jobs. Everybody works hard. It's just not acceptable. And we saw this in the Karen Reed case over and over and over again. And they're seeing it in the Miles King case in Massachusetts. It's insane. It's insane, and it's got to stop. It really does, because one of these days you're going to get a judge that says, you know what? I'm done. I'm done giving the DA's office or the Commonwealth lifelines. They know what the rules are. They know what's expected of them. And if they can't get it done, these are the consequences. So it's on them that these people are being returned back into society without standing trial for what they are accused of and possibly guilty of. So it's like, I almost wish it would happen just so that these people would get their heads out of their asses. I mean, it's insane to me. I don't know how they would sleep at night if that did happen. I couldn't. I'd probably quit my job because I would say that I'm not worthy of it. I'm not worthy of the Commonwealth or the people in the community trusting me to put these people behind bars and keep them safe from these types of people. Because I haven't been able to do it, so therefore I'm not fit for my position as DA or assistant DA or whatever. I feel like it needs to be done to teach these DA's offices a lesson, but in the same sense, who would you do it with so that it doesn't put the community in great danger? I mean, you don't want to take that chance of it being anybody that can be a danger to society. But they wouldn't be there if there wasn't that possibility. So it's like, it's hard because I think that they need to be taught a lesson. I think that the district attorneys everywhere are really, really pushing their luck and taking it for granted that the judges don't like to throw cases out. And they're abusing it. They're simply abusing it. That's the only word for it to describe it. And these people are sitting in jail longer than they're supposed to. So we as taxpayers have to do better. We have to elect better officials, and we have to stay on top of them, and we have to make them accountable for the things they're supposed to do. We go to work and we do our job. They need to go to work and do their job. That's what they're paid to do. And if they can't do it, they need to step aside and let somebody in that can. That's all there is to it. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Check out that Billy Bush interview of Alan Jackson. It's really a refreshing, lighthearted interview. You left it feeling good, and I'm happy for Aiden Carney for the props that Alan Jackson, the well-deserved props that Alan Jackson gave him. And then check out the Rotten Mango interview with Karen Reed. That was an exceptional interview. I was really impressed. I couldn't wait. I thought it was going to be 3 parts, as in 1 part tonight, 1 part tomorrow night, 1 part the next night. But no, they were all shown. Boom, boom, boom. And I really, 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 really enjoyed it. So kudos to Rotten Mango for a job well done. And I can only hope to be half that impressive once I get the hang of things. So everybody stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and stay happy. And we will be back tomorrow morning with Kimberly Park's arraignment. So I will see you then. Bye.